What's going on, everybody? You're watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, as always. In today's live show, we're going to be breaking down the latest news and rumors around the New York Football Giants. We have some 2023 free agent targets, and I think we should look at the Giants. They have a lot of cap space to use next offseason, so let's get ahead of the names and let's start to, go out there and see who could be out there in free agency. And then we have 2 live Q&As. If you want to be a part of the show, just make sure you use hashtag Giants in the comment section. I've already seen Flagspin ask a question, so do as he did. Hashtag Giants, and then ask your question. Usually we start the show by asking where you're watching from, but I want to ask a different question. Which of these 3 teams do you hate the most? Is it the Cowboys, type DAL? Is it the Commanders, type WAS? Or is it the Philadelphia Eagles, type PHI? Or you can just say Cowboys, Commanders, or Eagles. I always like to ask this question to all Giants fans that I get to talk to. And I think it's dependent on where you're from. I was born in New York, but I was raised in Houston, Texas. Now I live in Dallas, Texas, and I work with 6 different Cowboy fans in the office. So I think I hate the Cowboys the most. I also hate the Eagles because, honestly, I think as a Giants fan, you have to hate the Eagles. I hate Philadelphia. I hate those damn Kelly green jerseys, midnight green, whatever you want to call it. I never liked Donovan McNabb. I didn't really like Andy Reid until he went to the Chiefs. I hate them as well. But I don't really feel too badly about Washington because they've never really been good that much or that often in my lifetime. So let me know, who do you hate the most? Cowboys, Washington, or the Eagles? Mr. NY Stadium, my guy, what's up? He says the Cowgirls. Pierre Juan, one of the homies, says the Eagles. Juan, what's going on, bro? He says the Eagles. Smooth NY Giants cast says all 3 of them. Dallas, Washington, and Philly. You're doing it right. Hixie Dust, my guy, I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well. He says Dallas. Ruben says Dallas. Brendan says Giants. I hate the Giants. Look, when the Giants lose, I hate the Giants just as much as everybody else. My life and how happy I am depends on the Giants. If they're good and they win a game on Sunday, I'm probably going to have a good week. If they don't, I'll probably have a bad week. Other people, let's give them shout-outs. Trevor says Dallas. COVID 1984 says Dallas. Corinne says Philly. Class Clown, my guy, I saw you comment on the community post today. He says Dallas for show, been losers all my life. Hunted's getting a question in there. The heavyweight champion of the world just says, woo! Brendan, he says the Giants. Pierre, Philly. Cy Guy, Philly, Dallas. All right, another question. Let's keep talking about it. How many games will the Giants win this year? Remember, it's a 17-game schedule now, so there's no more days of 8-8. There's no more 10-6. You got to go 10-7. You got to go 9-8. Let me know, how many games will the Giants win this year? When I look at the Giants, the New York Giants 2022 schedule, there's a lot of winnable games for sure. And if I had to say it today, best case scenario, I think the Giants win about 9 games. I think that's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, I could see them winning 6 or 7 games. But when you look at this schedule, there's a lot of winnable games. You can beat the Panthers. You can beat the Jags. You can beat the Seahawks, the Texans, the Lions, Washington, Eagles. You can win a lot of games. What's that, 7 right there? And maybe you sneak and split one with the Cowboys. But let me know. Let me give some shout-outs to people getting the comment section going early. Because last week, we didn't have the comment section going. So honestly, I felt like I let you guys down. So I'm bringing better questions today. James Hollister, my guy, even though you're a hater because we say we post duplicate content, he says 9 or 10. Juan says hopefully 8 or 9. Smooth says 8 or 9. Class Clown says optimistically 10, hopefully 9. COVID says 6 or 7. Brendan says 8 or 9. Pierre says 8. Ninjitsu, if I'm saying that wrong, let me know, says 10 and 7. James Hollister, yeah, they do need to win week 1. They haven't won in week 1 in a very long time, and it's time for the Giants to start the season out strong. Mr. NY Stadium says 9 or 8. Hunnit says 8 or 9. Bree says 7 and 10. Mark says 6. Hixie Dust says 11. Yesterday's show that we did here on Giants Now, I started the video off with this question. But not everybody gets to watch every single video, and I loved this question by NFL on CBS on Twitter. They said, describe Eli Manning's NFL career in 3 words or less. A lot of people, like myself, said Tom Brady's daddy. That was probably the most popular answer I got, and it made me think it wasn't that creative. But I said it too, so maybe I'm not being that creative. I want to hear from you right now, though. Describe Eli Manning's NFL career in 3 words or less. Another one that comes into my head and that I saw a lot was Hall of Famer. Someone I saw said first ballot. Smooth says Hall of Fame. Jitsu says Hall of Fame. Hixie Dust, I saw your comment yesterday, said the Goat Slayer. That's for show. You can get really creative. James, you just don't get it, do you, brother? It's all right, though. I appreciate you and everybody that always watches these videos. Juan Roulette says clutch QB. I'm going to go with best Manning brother. Is it true? Probably not. But Eli's my quarterback. He's number 10. James says clutch in playoffs. That's true. COVID-19 says Patriots killer. And Mr. NY Stadium says Hall of Fame. Now that we got 45 people in here, I want to know where you're watching from. Stand up, rep it, be loud, be proud. Let me know where you're watching from. Shout out your city. We also have people watching from different countries, so you can shout out your country as well. One of my favorite things about Chat Sports, and especially Giants Now, is Giants fans are scattered all over the world, from coast to coast. But I want to know where you're watching from in today's video. Juan says Albany, New York. James says California. Class Clown says better than Peyton. Suck it, Petey. Class Clown, you're from Houston. That's what's up. I'm from Houston as well. I grew up in Sugar Land, Richmond area. Fred Green is from H-Town. Way to go, Dad. H-Town, ride or die. Jitsu says Virginia Beach. Big Blue says Atlanta. Hunnit says Rock City, New York. COVID says New Jersey. Terrence says Milwaukee. Literally people from all over the world. That's what I love about this. Pierre says he's from Waco. That's unfortunate. I'm just kidding. Go Baylor Bears. Devon says the comeback kid, Eli Manning, was one of the best fourth quarter comeback QBs of all time. Another question I want to ask. What was your first phone that you ever had? Your first cell phone? Most people are rocking with iPhones now. Some people do Androids. But I remember in the 6th grade for Christmas, shout out to Fred. He's in the comment section right now. You can type Fred. That's my pops. I got a Nokia brick phone. Probably about this big, this wide. It was just a brick. A screen and numbers. No touch, none of that. 6th grade, got a phone. A Nokia. James says a Sidekick. I also had a Sidekick at one time. Those were heat. Motorola flip phone, baby from Big Blue Fire Chief. Brick Nokia from Rob Bean Enthusiast. I did too. Mine was silver. It had black numbers on there. Mr. NY Stadium says Boost. Then I had like a Razor phone. I had a lot of phones because, I wasn't that responsible as a kid. Some got stolen. Some got lost. Some I jumped in the pool with. I think one time I left it in my pocket when I washed my clothes. Oh, no, one time it definitely got stolen. I was hooping at an elementary school, had it in my bag, and boom, gone. Juan says some weird straight talk square phone when I was in 7th grade. Class Clown says Samsung slide keyboard. Hixie Dust says Virgin Mobile flip phone. Pierre says flip phone. And my dad said in the comment section, you always lost your phone. No, there's some were stolen, but some were also lost. But look, we're here today, and I've had this phone for about 4 years now. All right, enough phone talk. If you want to continue to let me know in the comment section what phone you had. Another question, though. Who was the Giants QB when you became a fan of the New York Football Giants? I was thinking about this today, and my earliest memories that I can think of, Kerry Collins was under center for the New York Giants. I was born in 1994. The earliest games I remember was in 2000, and the most vivid game I remember was the NFC Championship game against the Minnesota Vikings where the Giants blew them out, and they went on to play against the Baltimore Ravens, and that game didn't go too well in the Super Bowl. James Hollister says Eli. Smooth says Eli. COVID says Kurt Warner. Hixie Dust says Eli. Cy Guy Bree says Y.A. Tittle. Pierre says Terry and Phil. Mr. NY Stadium says Eli. Jeff says Fran. Juan says Eli. Met him back when they did training camp in Albany. Met him and Victor. Fred Green says Fran Tarkenton. Don't show your age too much there. Tim says Phil Sims. Big Blue Chief says Craig Morton, 1976. What'd you say, Petey? Vikings legend, Fran. Eli and the chubby backup. Talking about Jared Lorenzen. Rest in peace to Big Lorenzo. George says Scott Bruner. Jitsui says Phil Sims. I don't even know what to say right there. ninjitsui. Is that what, do you see that in the comment section, Petey? What would you say? Connor says Eli. All right, let's get the real show going. We're going to start with a mailbag here in about 3 or 4 minutes. So if you want to be featured on the next New York or on an upcoming, we actually have 2 today, 2 mailbags. Make sure you use hashtag Giants. So our software, my producer, Matthew Peterson, can pull your questions. Because if you just ask a question, it's not going to be able to go through our software and be popped up on screen with your cool picture and your name and all that cool stuff. You got to use hashtag Giants for our software to pull it. So if you want to be on today's show, use hashtag Giants or Super Chat. Because if you Super Chat, we accept all donations. And it lets my boss know that people are excited and they like to ask me questions. And also, anybody that Super Chats on today's show, we'll bust out the liquor and I'll take 2 shots for every single Super Chat. But if you're ready for the show, go down right now and smash that like button. Give it a little tickle. If you like the video, just like the video. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tyler Jones, who runs our Ravens Rundown channel. But seriously, we got 61 people watching live, 26 likes. Let's get to 37 likes. Random number, yes, but we need 10 more. 10 more people, hit that like button so YouTube knows that people are enjoying this video. The more likes we get, YouTube will push this video to more and more Giants fans, and that's what we're looking for. We got 2 mailbags on today's show. We're also going to take a look at 2023. Yes, next year's free agency class and the biggest positions of need for the Giants. I'll tell you how much salary cap space the Giants have. They have a lot of money to spend, and they have a lot of money to go out and make some talent happen. We just got a Super Chat. So grab that fireball and a shot glass. We'll do it, yeah, let's do it now. Let's do it now so I can get my mind right for this mailbag. My guy Tutu in the chat, getting it lit. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to need some help from Petey. He speaks like 15 different languages because I don't know what the beginning of that says. Or honestly, a lot of that. Petey, if you want to unmute yourself, you can. But I'm going to say Marshy, New York, and New York Giants. Those are the only words I know in there.
Yeah, let me give it a shot here. Oh, I can't get past I. IP Grandi, Saluti Marshy, Il. I took French in high school. This is Sportivo de New York. Something Giant. Forget about it. Hey, I'm walking here.
I'm walking here. Get the shots going. Let's ride. I'll take 2 shots for my guy Tutu. He's a real one. And then we'll get to this mailbag. If you have a question, use hashtag Giants to get it on the mailbag, or you can Super Chat like my guy Tutu. He's currently the MVP of today's show. All Super Chats get on the show, and we'll take 2 shots for everyone. Here's number 1. Oh, yeah, it goes down like water. Number 1. I'm like doing it over my laptop, so I'm not trying to spill on there like I almost just did. Alrighty, got a little on my chin. Alrighty, Petey, are we ready? Are we doing the thing? We're doing the damn thing. Let's get it. Giants mailbag right now. What's going on, everybody? You're watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. And remember, if you want to be a part of these mailbags, you got to be a subscriber. So go down right now, hit that big red button. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers. Do it for Eli Manning, because you got to do it for Eli. He did it for us twice. Hit that big red button and subscribe right now. Question number 1 coming from the homie Juan. He says, realistically, who would we have a better chance of getting, OBJ or DK Metcalf? That's a great question. And when I think about it on the surface, I think DK Metcalf. I'm not sure Odell Beckham Jr. ever wants to play for the New York Football Giants again. Shout out to Dave Gettleman for that. But it just seemed like the relationship kind of soured a little bit. I haven't heard the best things about Mara and Odell Beckham having a great relationship, and DK Metcalf is going to be a free agent next offseason. And the Giants are going to have $54 million to spend in the 2023 free agency cycle, which is the 4th most in the National Football League. Look, if Kenny Golladay plays bad, they're going to cut him and save some money. Sterling Shepard's on a 1-year deal. He's probably gone after this year. So you got Kadarius Toney and Wan'Dale Robinson. You're going to have to go out and get another receiver because, look, if you get a new quarterback, you got to get a wide receiver 1. and maybe that's DK Metcalf. We saw when Joe Shane was the assistant general manager for the Buffalo Bills, they went out and made a blockbuster trade to go and get Stephon Diggs. He got Josh Allen a number 1 wide receiver. Whether it's Daniel Jones next year or another rookie quarterback or the Giants trade for a quarterback, I expect that Joe Shane is going to go out and get him a wide receiver 1. So I think DK is unfortunately more likely than Odell because I'd love to see OBJ back in Giants blue. Good question, Juan. Mr. NY Stadium, the homie, do you think Kayvon Thibodeau will win Rookie of the Year this upcoming season? I did a video on this a couple of weeks ago, and at the time, I don't have the exact odds right now. But Kayvon Thibodeau was tied with the number 1 best odds to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. And my guy Matthew Peterson will check that out for me in a second. But I think Kayvon is going to have a chance to come in and be an absolute wrecking ball in his rookie season. He's going to be a starter on day 1. And he's playing in a very good system to help him produce early on because Don Wink Martindale, he's going to dial up the blitzes. He's going to bring the pressure. And the way that he likes to play defense, it's an attacking style. It keeps the offensive line on their heels and not their toes. It's going to be tough. Still tied for number 1, Petey. He's now second in the odds at plus 500. Thank you for our Petey statistician, right behind Aiden Hutchinson. But what I'm saying with the Wink Martindale and the Kayvon Thibodeau thing is, Martindale's going to be able to scheme Thibodeau open on free blitzes. He's going to get some sacks this year where he doesn't even get touched by opposing offensive linemen. I'm expecting Thibodeau to have a great season. I think he'll compete for that award. Hopefully he gets to around 8 to 12 sacks, because if he does, I think he'll be right in the running with other guys like Hutchinson and Walker to win that award. Appreciate the question, though, bro. Austin Johnson, 44. If Daniel Jones struggles this year, who could we look at next year? Yes, Daniel Jones on the last year of his deal. And if he doesn't play well enough to convince Joe Shane that he's the guy that can lead the New York Giants back to being great, they're going to move on from him. And deservedly so. He's had every chance in the book, while he also has had every excuse in the book for not being good. I expect the Giants to replace Daniel Jones in the NFL draft. And we'll pop this graphic up on screen. One of these guys is not like the other, and that's Lamar Jackson. He's going to be a free agent, and it doesn't sound like him and the Baltimore Ravens have ever come close to a contract extension, and the Giants could trade for him if they really wanted to push all their marbles into the middle of the table. But guys in the NFL draft, you have Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. I think one way or another, those are going to be the top 2 quarterbacks to be picked. I also like Anthony Richardson out of Florida. He's an athletic dual threat, and same with Will Levis out of Kentucky. He's not as athletic as Anthony Richardson, but I've seen some people compare him to Josh Allen before. I believe the Giants will replace Daniel Jones in the NFL draft with their first-round selection in 2023. It'll be one of those guys, or maybe they go out and make a trade for a guy like Lamar Jackson. I've heard Tua's name being mentioned before. I would not be a fan of that. I'm not a big fan of Tua, but at the end of the day, if Daniel Jones is gone, they're going to have to do something to get someone that's ready to play real football under center next season. This is a good question to ask. Good job by my producer here. Who do you want? Yes, you, the viewer, watching right now. Who do you want the Giants starting quarterback to be in the 2023 season? Do you want it to be Daniel Jones? I would be down with that because that means he played really good in 2022. You can say Daniel Jones. You can say Bryce Young. You could say C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, Lamar Jackson, Derek Carr, Tua. Give me a name of who you want to be the Giants starting quarterback in 2023. Timothy, what's up, man? Will the Giants trade Darius Slayton and a 2023 7th rounder to the Ravens for Chuck Clark? It's almost like I did a video on this before. Timmy, I know you're subscribed and you've probably seen it before. That's why you got this idea. I would love to make this trade. I think Chuck Clark can be a good football player still. He's played really well with the Ravens. He's a safety for the Ravens, if you don't know. But the Ravens made 2 big moves by adding safeties. They added one into free agency on the first day, gave him a lot of money, and then they drafted Kyle Hamilton in the first round. So Chuck Clark is looking somewhat on the outside in of the Ravens depth chart. If the Ravens were down for this trade, I would make it in a heartbeat because I think Chuck Clark could be a perfect starting safety for the New York Giants. He knows Wink Martindale. He knows this scheme. He knows what Martindale expects of his players. And I think he'd be great in that third safety role, and it'd let Julian Love go back to being that slot corner type of player. Great question. I'd make this move in a heartbeat, Timothy. Look, if the Giants trade for Chuck Clark, we are going to be breaking it down on this channel, youtube.com/NYGiantsTV. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. We are less than 400 away. So if you haven't yet, show some love. Hit that big red button. Help Giants now get to 10,000 subscribers as soon as possible. Do it for Eli, the GOAT, the greatest quarterback to ever play for the New York Giants. Ryan Jenkins, what up? Do you think the Giants should sign Cole Beasley to a vet minimum deal? Giants wide receivers are always hurt. Can't afford for that to happen in DJ's make or break year. I'll break this down bit by bit. Giants wide receivers are always hurt. They have been. Galladay's been hurt. Tony's been hurt. Shepard's been hurt on and off throughout his whole career. So I wouldn't be mad with the idea of bringing in Cole Beasley if he was down to sign a veteran minimum contract, because he's still a solid player in the National Football League, and he knows this Brian Daboll offense. He spent the past couple of years with the Buffalo Bills, had 82 grabs last year, almost 700 yards. The yards per catch is a little bit concerning, but he works out of the slot and gets a lot of catches on those underneath routes. He was a safety valve for a guy like Josh Allen last year, and I think he could do the same this year for Daniel Jones. And when you look at the Giants wide receiver depth chart, you have to remember that C.J. Board, Richie James, and David Sills were the starting wide receivers in with the ones at Giants minicamp, because Galladay, Shepard, and Tony were all wearing red non-contact practice jerseys. I like Wan'Dale Robinson a lot. Wasn't a big fan of the pick at the time, but as I've done my more research and I've heard great things coming out of camp, I think he could be an immediate impact player. But does it hurt to go at a veteran wide receiver that works out of the slot, that knows this offense, that knows this playbook, that could teach a thing to a guy like Tony or Wan'Dale Robinson? I'd be all on board if Beasley were to be down to sign a one-year veteran minimum deal, but I just have a feeling he's looking for a little bit more cheddar than that. So who knows? But if he wants to play football next year, it might have to be on that type of contract. If you haven't yet, show us some love over on Rumble, rumble.com/NYGiantsTV. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers over there. It's a very similar app to like YouTube. It's a video content creator platform, but it offers free and uncensored content. So if you want to hear me drop some F-bombs, you can go follow Giants Now, on Rumble, rumble.com/NYGiantsTV. I'll have the link to that in the comment section and description of this video. Class Clown, what's going on, Brody? What do you think about signing Ndamukong Suh? I'd love it. Suh has always been a player that I've loved watching from afar. I don't really have favorite players that aren't on the New York Giants, but I just love the tenacity and the way that guy plays football. I'm okay with the occasional roughing the quarterback or stomping on another person's face every once in a while. But Ndamukong Suh, seriously, is still a productive player. What was the stat, Petey? He's missed 2 games? 2 games in his NFL career. And what is he, 35, 36, 37? And it was due to suspension. He's healthy, he's dependable, and he's still a good football player. Is there spot for him on this depth chart? Maybe not, but I'd be totally down. If Ndamukong Suh wanted to come play for the Giants, I think it's all about the money. I think he wants a lot, and the Giants, they don't really have a lot to offer, so that may be the part that's holding it back. But if Suh wants to play in MetLife wearing Giants blue, I'd be cheering him on for sure. I'm a big fan of Ndamukong Suh. Anthony, what up, man? Do you think Will Levis or Tyler Van Dyke will be on the Giants roster? I think one of those guys have a large chance to be the quarterback the Giants select in the 2023 NFL Draft, because Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud might be the number 1 and number 2 pick in that draft. And while I don't think the Giants are going to go to the Super Bowl, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think they're going to be picking in the top 2 or have the bottom 2 records in the NFL. So a guy like Levis or Van Dyke, I think could go to the Giants somewhere from pick 10 to pick 20. Those guys are both going to go in the first round. I like Levis's arm strength. I like how he can move a little bit. I think it's a little bit weird that he puts mayonnaise in his coffee and eats bananas with the banana peel on. We'll talk about that later. I like Van Dyke. He has a strong arm and he's also athletic. I'd be down with either of these guys, but you're only going to go after one of them if Daniel Jones struggles this year, which who knows if that's going to happen. The ball's in his court. He's going to have to show us that he can be the franchise quarterback for years to come. Good question, Anthony. COVID 1984. If Daniel struggles this year, but the team overall does good, would you trade up for a quarterback? So if Daniel struggles, but the team overall does good, yes, I would trade up for a quarterback. Because if you're doing good as a team, and what is good? 7-9, what would it be? 7-10, 8-9, you're on the cusp of competing for that third wild card spot, and Daniel Jones is holding you back, then you absolutely move on from Daniel Jones. If it's the reverse scenario where Daniel Jones is playing great, but the rest of the team's not playing well, then you would hold on to him. But if he's holding you back and holding this team back from advancing and being a playoff type of team, as much as I'd like to see Daniel Jones be the guy, I think, unfortunately, the Giants would have to move on from him. And I think, like I've said a couple of times in today's show, it's in the draft or the Giants make a trade. I don't think they go out and sign a player. I think they want to save that cap space for future flexibility. And it's better to build a roster with a quarterback on a rookie contract that he's controlled costs for at least the next 4 years. Great question, though. I got this question as well. When did you become a Giants fan? When was the first game that you vividly remember? You can let me know the year. You can let me know the team in the year, the quarterback, whatever. Just let me know. When did you become a Giants fan, a fan of the New York Football Giants? Last question on today's show, a super chat from It's a Pizza Pie. Hey, Marshy, you even eat New York pizza. Also, top 23 free agents. Do I even eat pizza? Yeah, give me a slice. It was today. I made the office get New York style pizza. Everybody wanted to go eat tacos. I said, F them tacos. I want some pizza. But some top 23 free agents. I think you can look at Terry McLaurin as a free agent, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel. I think you can also look at a guy like Marcus Peters. Maybe you want to go get a safety to pair with Xavier McKinney. You can look at Derwin James or Jesse Bates. Stay tuned, though. It's a Pizza Pie, because later in the week, we're going to take a look at 2023 New York Football Giants free agency targets. Let's get back to this question. I'm curious. When did you become a Giants fan? Let me know. Everyone that answers, I'll make sure to give you a shout out. We got a Niner fan in here who says, you guys blow. Yeah, remember when your punt returner dropped that punt and the Giants went to the Super Bowl? Yeah, that sucks to be a Niners fan if you remember that. We got some super chats coming in. Let's ride. 2-2, back at it, realist in the game. LOL, close, biggest greetings to Marshy, the king of New York sports entertainment. Let's go, Giants. Forget about it. All right, that's 2 more shots for 2-2. Let's ride. My guy 2-2 has been supporting Giants now from day one. I remember posting videos for the first time back in June of 2021, and he was down watching those videos. You're a real one, 2-2. That's 1. That's 2. I appreciate it, 2-2. I hope the rugby season's going well. Let me give some shout-outs real quick, Petey. Anthony says 1990. Big Blue says 1976. Niner Vance is a huge douche from It's a Pizza Pie. I agree. If you want to type F Niner Vance in the comment section, you can do that. Oh, the chat's moving. 1976, I already gave you a shout out, Big Blue, but I'm always down for 2. Superman says 1981. Rosario says 1960. Timothy says 1986. Juan says, I went as in elementary school. I don't know the year. My household was Giants fans, and I started watching games on TV with them. Everyone's typing F Niner Vance. Let's ride. Pierre says not too much, Killa. You're my guy, bro. Alzo. What up, bro? He says 2005. All righty. Let's do it. Let's talk about some 2023 free agency targets. The Giants have a lot of cap space to spend, and they're going to have some holes on the roster that I think they need to fit next year. So let's talk about it. Some 2023 free agency targets. What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Marshall Green, and you're watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. And in today's show, I want to take a look at the future. The 2023 free agency class. We'll run through free agency targets at just about every position for the Giants because they have a lot of needs, but they also have a lot of cap space to spend. And the Giants right now, according to the projections by Over the Cap, the best site on the world to stay up with cap situations, the Giants are projected to have $54 million in cap space, which would be the 4th most in the NFL. But that number could change by going less or more, because if Daniel Jones plays good, you're probably going to have to franchise tag him. You can also cut Leonard Williams and Kenny Golladay and save a lot of money. The biggest needs for the Giants, in my opinion, are corner, wide receiver, center, inside linebacker, tight end, and maybe quarterback. If Daniel Jones doesn't play well, you may look to free agency and replace him. I think the Giants would go towards the draft or making a trade, but we have a new GM that we've only spent one offseason before with him, so we're not sure exactly who or where the Giants will look to, replace Daniel Jones. But let's look first off at some free agency quarterbacks, guys to keep in mind. These are guys that are going to be available and probably the best at the position. Lamar Jackson, we know he's obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He won an MVP. Him and Baltimore aren't exactly close on a contract extension, so maybe he could hit free agency. Jimmy Garoppolo will be a free agent, whether he plays with San Fran this year or another team next year. Tom Brady, he's going to be a free agent, but I don't see any of these guys being signed by the Giants. Baker Mayfield or Teddy Bridgewater. At the end of the day, if Daniel Jones struggles, the Giants are going to be looking towards the draft or to go and make a trade. I think the Giants, if Daniel Jones struggle, will probably have a top 20 pick in the NFL draft. So they'll be in a good position to either stick and pick or trade up and go get a guy like they want. Maybe C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young or mayonnaise boy Will Levis. Something's going to happen next year. It's either going to be a Daniel Jones franchise tag and extension, or Daniel Jones get kicked to the curb and they go make a trade for a quarterback, or they go out. Yes, they could sign one in free agency, but if I had to bet today, they replace him in the NFL draft. Whatever way they replace him, I want you to answer this question. Who do you want to be the Giants quarterback in 2023? Is it one of those guys we showed early on in the video? Is it someone in the NFL draft? Is it someone we haven't talked about? Fill me in. I'll be down in the comment section reading all of your answers. So let me know, who do you want to be the Giants QB in 2023? On to the running backs, because as we all know, Saquon Barkley is in the last year of his rookie contract. And who knows if the Giants, as a team, and the way that they're building their team with future cap flexibility, are willing to allocate a lot of money to the running back position. And there's some good ones out there. Kareem Hunt, he's 27, 28 years old, a hard runner, while also being a good player in the receiving game. He offers a lot of flexibility at the running back spot. I like him. Tony Pollard's going to be a free agent. He could be a guy that the Giants could look at, come over from Dallas, steal him away from there. Josh Jacobs can also be a free agent, as well as Miles Sanders. If you're willing to or wanting to replace Saquon Barkley in free agency, it could be one of these guys. But in my opinion, if Saquon walks, I could see the Giants replacing him in the NFL draft. But if Saquon plays well, I'm in the camp of giving him a contract extension, just nothing close to what Ezekiel Elliott got. Wide receivers, the next position we're going to look at. DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, and Terry McLaurin. Those are the top three guys at the position. Those guys are all going to want about $25 to $30 million per year. That's a lot of cheddar. Then there's two guys that I think would fit this Giants offense. Mecole Hardman, for sure. He played with Kafka in Kansas City. He could come over and be a spark plug and a speed guy to go along with Kadarius Toney and Wan'Dale Robinson. And Deontay Johnson is a name to monitor this year. With Big Ben out, I'm expecting Johnson to have a huge year. He played really good last year, but with someone that can throw the ball down the field a little bit more, whether it's Pickett or Mitchell Trubisky, I think Johnson could be in line to have a really good season. But when you look at the top three guys, McLaurin, Metcalf, and Samuel, and what they did in 2021, their stats are kind of similar. They have 77 catches or 75 catches. The yards differ. McLaurin had 1,000, DK right under 1,000, Deebo at 1,400. He's also had a lot of touches at the running back spot, had rushing touchdowns and rushing yards, 5 TDs for McLaurin, 12 for DK, and 6 for Deebo Samuel. Honestly, if I had to choose between those three guys or power rank them, I would go DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, and then Deebo Samuel. I think Deebo might have the most talent out of all of those guys, but I'm concerned a little bit about the way he plays and the carries and hits he takes, about how much how long he's going to be able to play in the NFL. If Terry McLaurin can do what he's done with the long list of terrible QBs he's had, we know he's the real deal, and DK Metcalf is DK Metcalf. We know he's a badass. But when you look at this Giants wide receiver depth chart, Golladay, if he doesn't play well this year, he will be cut. I guarantee you that. Sterling Shepard, he's in the last year of his deal. Darius Slayton's probably not going to make this team. All the names you see under Golladay, Shepard, Toney, and Robinson probably won't be back on the Giants next year. So that leaves you with Toney and Robinson as the only guys that will probably be returning unless Golladay plays really good. So you're going to have to go out and get a good wide receiver, and you're going to have the money to do so. So maybe you can go out and sign a big dog like Deebo Samuel or DK Metcalf or go out and get Terry McLaurin. There's a lot of good receivers this upcoming cycle, but those are the top 3 guys. So pick one to sign if these guys were available next year in free agency. Type 19 for Deebo Samuel, type 14 for DK Metcalf, or you can go down in the comment section and type 17 if you think Terry McLaurin's the guy. If you haven't yet, go down right now and hit that big red button, because here at Giants Now, we're putting out videos every single day. So make sure you go down, hit that big red button, join us, become one of the Giants followers, and join the family. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. I got it, Harrison. Make sure you hit that big red button. Become one of the people that watch videos every single day here. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Now let's look at some free agent safeties. Derwin James, he's the number 1 guy on my list. If the Giants want to pair one of the best safeties in the NFL with Xavier McKinney, Derwin James would be a great piece. Him in a Don Wink Martindale system would be electric. He could use him in a multitude of ways. Derwin can cover like a corner. He can rush like a pass rusher. He can be one of the better in-the-box safeties in the NFL. Jesse Bates is also a really good safety from Cincinnati. I'd be down with him. Jordan Poyer is the oldest guy on the list, but he has ties to Joe Schoen. He's played with Buffalo the past couple of years. And then Adrian Amos. I have a man crush on Amos just because of the type of player he is. He can play strong safety. He can play free safety. He reminds me a lot of Xavier McKinney. He's a do-it-all safety. I think Amos is a little bit faster and athletic, but I'd be down with any of these guys to be signed by the New York Giants next year. We all know cornerback is a weak spot for the Giants right now. And it's going to be going into the 2023 offseason unless Aaron Robinson shows that he can be a legit number 2 corner in the NFL alongside Adoree Jackson. But if he doesn't, and maybe he still plays good, the Giants are going to want to keep him, obviously, because he's a 3rd-round pick only entering year 2. Maybe he slides back into the slot in his more natural position, and you go out and spend the big bucks on Byron Murphy or Marcus Peters. I think those are the best 2 corners available in this free agency class. I also like Rock Ya-Sin, the youngest player on this list, got traded from the Indianapolis Colts to the Las Vegas Raiders this offseason. A physical corner that likes to get his hands on players. I think he would fit as well. And I like Jamel Dean as well from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think he's gotten better every single year in the NFL, and I think he would fit good in this system. But let's focus on Marcus Peters for a second, because we know he has the ties to Don Wink Martindale. I'm a little bit more cautious when it comes to Peters, because he just tore his ACL. He's going to be 30 years old, and as a corner, once you pass 30 and you have a torn ACL, it gets a little bit tricky out there on the island, but I'll leave this up to you, Giants fans. Would you sign Marcus Peters in NFL free agency? Type S for sign, or you can go down and type P for pass. If you love the NBA and you're looking for a place besides NBA TV or ESPN to watch every single pick of the NBA draft be announced, join us and join me as I'll be talking about the Knicks during the NBA draft at youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. We'll be going live a couple hours before the draft on Thursday, so join us. Let's party. We'll be taking shots. We'll be drinking liquor. We'll be having a good time. Let's party. Watch the NBA draft with us, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. The only spot on the offensive line that I could see the Giants going out and making a move for next offseason would be center. Because at the left guard spot, or at the guard spot, you just selected a player in the 3rd round and in the 4th round of the NFL draft. So you don't really need to go out and spend big money at the guard spot. But the center spot is a position that's still a position of need. John Feliciano, I'm not sure he's the guy. He's going to have a chance to prove himself for sure. But when you would talk about the guys that I just had on screen, all of them are good players. But at the end of the day, I think Erick McCoy is the best out of all of them. I like Connor McGovern a lot. And I would say Bradley Bozeman is the 3rd option out of these guys. McCoy or McGovern are probably the best 2 centers in free agency. So I think those are the guys the Giants would target if they're looking to add a center in free agency. We also know the position of linebacker could be a position of need. Blake Martinez is on the last year of his deal. He's coming off a torn ACL. He's getting older, so they may have to replace him. Maybe Tay Crowder doesn't prove this year that he can be a legit linebacker too, alongside Martinez. Maybe you want to go out, Joe Schoen, and sign Tremaine Edmonds, the player that you drafted in the first round with the Buffalo Bills. Maybe you want to take a chance or a flyer on Devin Bush, who was a first-round pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers, looked really good in his first year, and then struggled the next 2 years to stay healthy. Maybe you think if he puts it all together and gets healthy, he could be great for the New York Giants. Or maybe you wanted to get a veteran that costs a little bit less money and is more like Blake Martinez. Anthony Walker plays for the Cleveland Browns, a solid inside linebacker. I'd be cool if any of these guys got signed by the Giants next offseason. Another position in need is the Titans. Not the Titans, excuse me, the tight ends. Yes, the tight ends. I would love for Daniel Bellinger to take a step this year in his rookie season and say, you know what, Marshall, we don't need a tight end. You shouldn't even have done this a part of your show. I'd be happy if that happens. But if guys that you could look at to replace him or become the Giants' long-term starting tight end, Mike Gesicki, Dalton Schultz. I think Dawson Knox is a really interesting name to watch because we know he has ties to Shane and Dable. I like Irv Smith a lot, a really athletic tight end, had some injury issues, but I feel like once he puts it all together, and I feel like we've talked about this before with Evan Ingram, I feel like Irv Smith could be a really good player, and Foster Moreau will probably be the most bang for your buck tight end on this list. Those are 5 guys I can see the Giants looking at, but we'll end the segment with this question. What is the biggest need for the Giants going forward, into the draft, into free agency next offseason? I know we still have a season to go through, and there's more free agency targets that'll pop up because some people are going to have big years that we aren't expecting, but I'll ask you this question. What is the biggest need for the Giants going forward? Harrison coming in here was terrible because he's talking to you into the mic. That was brutal. Yes, someone came in during the show. Josh Jacobs is at the Giants Stadium right now, which probably means he's being talked to by the New York Jets and not the New York Giants. But maybe it could be the Giants. I don't expect that to happen. Josh Jacobs just posted on Twitter that he was at MetLife Stadium. And I'm unscrewing this bottle because my guy Tutu is back with another super chat. He says, massive salute to our Italian elder in the chat and New York Giants fan legend, Signor Rosario Guzzo. Shout out to you. Shout out to him. Shout out to everybody that's watching this show. We got 116 people live. Much better show than last week. You guys stepped up to the plate. Let's ride. 2 more shots for Tutu. And we have another Giants mailbag coming up. So if you want to be featured on that, use hashtag Giants or go down and super chat like Tutu, because right now, Tutu's the MVP of the show. Mark P. asks me, Marshall, when are you becoming a Nets fan? Never. There's no such thing as a Brooklyn Nets fan. You're either a New Jersey Nets fan or you just watch them because you're sad that your state's team got taken away and you don't want to be a Knicks fan. Yeah, what, do you go to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch games in Brooklyn? Do they even have sports bars? Vegan B-dubs in Brooklyn. That sounds right. Rosario, Tutu, y'all are real ones. Alzo, I'm actually a Yankees fan, so Yankees, Giants, and Knicks. Shout out to my dad for that. And Rangers when they're in the playoffs and they're winning, but when they're not, I don't really watch hockey. Kind of a bandwagon hockey fan, but that's what I am. All right. Rosario says, forget about it. That's awesome. Sorry, Alzo. Hey, best 2 teams in baseball, though. Mets and Yankees. Subway Series, are we getting it back? Let's ride. Giants mailbag right now. Super chat to guarantee yourself on the show, or you can go down and use hashtag Giants, and maybe my producer, Petey, will put you on the show. What's going on, everybody? You're watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, as always, and in today's show, we're going to do a Giants Rumors mailbag, which aired during our live show every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern. So subscribe and have your notifications turned on so you can join us then. We like to party. We've been pounding shots all day. That's what we do. We win football games, or try to win football games, and we party. But first question from Billy Smith. Not sure if you saw, but Josh Jacobs was touring MetLife Stadium. Could the Giants trade for him? Yes, I just saw it on Twitter. He posted a picture, and I'll get to it so I can get the exact wording. It was just, he posted it on his Instagram, just a picture of MetLife Stadium. Trading for Josh Jacobs. So he's entering the last year of his contract. He wants a contract extension. No way, shape, or form are the Giants going to trade for a guy like Josh Jacobs when they have Saquon Barkley on this team, who's already in the last year of his deal. Jacobs is a good runner. I like how he runs. He's a hard-nosed runner. He looks for contact. He's really good in between the tackles. He's shown some flashes of being a receiving back. But if I had to say my opinion and what I think is going to happen, he's going to play on the Raiders one more year, and then he'll enter free agency. So I don't think any team really wants to pay big bucks to a running back. But him being traded to the Giants, no can do, King Wasabi. Class Clown, my brother, should we sign Emmanuel Sanders? I'm all down for this. We've talked about it on the show before. I am in the camp of going and adding another wide receiver, especially one that's a veteran, that's proven in this league, and one that's played with Brian Daboll and Joe Shane before. Sanders, as well as Cole Beasley, would be able to come over and show these young wide receivers what it takes to play in this system. And that means a lot, because when you're a rookie, like Wan'Dale Robinson, or a second-year player like Kadarius Toney, and you're already on your second offensive coordinator, it's not the easiest thing in the world to pick up on a playbook, especially one as detailed as this one's going to be with a merge of Kafka and Daboll. Sanders or Cole Beasley, I think would be great fits for the Giants. They could be mentors. They could be shoulders to lean on for this young wide receiver group, and they're still ballers. They're not elite players anymore, but they're still solid football players. I'm all down with signing Emmanuel Sanders. Good question, Class Clown. Daniel Jones 8. I saw the Giants could save $18 million in cap space with only an $8.3 million cap hit if they cut Leonard Williams after this season. Do you think they should do it? Great question, and good with the numbers, man. If Leonard Williams struggles this year, kind of like he did back in 2019, where he only had half a sack, 4 tackles for loss, and 16 QB hits, then I'd be down to cut him. But if he goes and does what he did in 2018, 2020, or 2021, I would hold on to him. Yes, would it be a little bit of an overpay? Maybe. But I want to see that 2020 Leonard Williams back, where he had 11.5 sacks, 16 tackles for loss, 30 QB hits. I like Leonard Williams. And I think he's going to make a big step this year in that Wink Martindale defense. For the first time, he's not going to be the exact focal point of every offensive coordinator's design to keep him out of the backfield, because now you got to deal with Azeez Ojulari as well as Kayvon Thibodeau. And I'm expecting Dexter Lawrence to make another step this year. Look, it's up to Leonard Williams. If he plays great, this year the Giants are going to keep him. If he struggles, I could see the Giants cutting him and saving that $18 million, because at the end of the day, that's a lot of money, and you can get a lot. You can get 2, 3 really good football players for $18 million. But what would you do with Leonard Williams? Type K for keep, or you can go down and type C for cut. Juan, what up, Brody? Hopefully the Giants can get Patrick Mahomes. LOL. I know it will never happen. At least I have Madden. Well, if Ben McAdoo was able to do what he wanted to do in that draft when Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback, or when Patrick Mahomes was entering the NFL draft, the Giants would have selected him. McAdoo was in love with Patrick Mahomes. Would I love to see it? Yes. Is it going to happen? No, it's not. But great question, Juan. I appreciate you. Mark_P, what up, bro? Anyone else left in free agency you would get for a wideout? We talked about Emmanuel Sanders a couple of seconds ago. I'd be down with Cole Beasley as well. I would not kick the can on a guy like Antonio Brown. Julio Jones is still out there. There's still some good players out there. The Giants, they did just sign Keelan Doss to a contract after they had him in for a tryout, during Giants minicamp. A guy, if I were to guess any receiver the Giants might sign at this point, it's either Cole Beasley or Emmanuel Sanders, and strictly due to the fact that they've played in this system before with Brian Daboll. If you haven't yet, make sure you join the squad. Become one of us. One of us. Shout out to my producer, Matthew Peterson. But seriously, lock us in. Hit that big red button, youtube.com/NYGiantsTV. I promise you, you will not regret subscribing to Giants Now by Chat Sports, because we put out videos every single day. And with the NFL season inching closer and closer, our coverage is only going to heat up. So lock us in. Hit that big red button. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers. Cool Guy Cam. What a name. Cool Guy Cam. Do you think the Giants could draft Jackson Smith and Jigba? Dude is a baller. Yes, he is. Dude is one of the best college receivers I've seen in my time of watching college football. What he did in what was the game, Petey, where he had 350? The Rose Bowl, where he had 350 receiving yards against Utah. The guy put on an absolute clinic. And when you look at what he did in the 2021 season, he showed that he's going to be the number one receiver selected in the 2023 NFL draft. 95 grabs, 1,600 yards, 17 yards per catch, 9 TD receptions. Everyone talked about Garrett Wilson. Everyone talked about Chris Olave. But Jackson Smith-Njigba is one of the most talented receivers to ever walk the halls at Ohio State. I like Njigba, but at the end of the day, I think he goes in the top 5 or the top 10 of the NFL draft. He'd go in round 1 guaranteed. And I don't know if the Giants are in a position to invest in a wide receiver in round 1 unless Daniel Jones comes out and lights the world on fire and you give him a contract extension. Then you could go out, and I could see him going out and selecting Njigba in round 1 to pair with Jones. But if Jones struggles, I don't see Njigba being the pick. But I'll ask you this. I think this is a good question. Type D for draft if you would select Njigba in round 1 of the NFL draft next year. Or if you don't think they should, you can go down and type P for pass. Jessica Lampert, what up? What cornerback should we try to get? If you're talking about free agency, there's some guys I'm still interested in. I'd be down for Jimmy Smith to be signed by the New York Giants. He spent a lot of time in Baltimore. He knows what it would look like to play in this Wink Martindale system. He'd be able to help young guys like Cordell Flatt, like Rodarius Williams, like Aaron Robinson. I also like Kevin King. I know he's been roasted in the playoffs a few times, but a 6'3" corner that runs a 4.4 40 and less than 30 years old, I think deserves another chance. I'd be down with either of those guys, and honestly, I don't think the Giants will go out and sign another corner, but I could see Jimmy Smith being a name that has a lot of intrigue for this Giants front office, especially the fact that he played under Wink Martindale, If you haven't yet, go give us a follow over at Rumble, rumble.com/NYGiantsTV. We're putting videos up on the channel over there every single day. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. So if you want another way to watch uncensored content from us over here at Giants Now, go give us a follow, rumble.com/NYGiantsTV. Jeremy Chuggs, hey Marshy, how much faith do you have in Dable? I think for the first time in a long time, I have faith in this head coach. I didn't believe in Pat Shurmur. I didn't believe in Joe Judge. But I do believe in Brian Dable because he's done it at the highest level. Not as a head coach, but he ran that offense like it was his own. McDermott, the coach for the Buffalo Bills, he controlled the defense. Dable controlled the offense. Dable has been in the most pressure-filled moments. The AFC Championship, game on the line, has to go and score. He's done that. He dialed up all the correct plays. Does it help having Josh Allen? 100%. But Dable is a guy that I believe in. I think he's going to be able to get a lot out of Daniel Jones. And if Daniel Jones doesn't show to be the guy, I trust him to groom and coach up the next guy to be the franchise QB of the Giants. Jeremy Chuggs, I appreciate you. That helmet is badass. I'd love to use it sometime. But I have a lot of faith in Dable to be the guy for the Giants and the head coach for a very long time. Another super chat, my guy Hixie Dust. Marshall, if you could trade for any player in the NFL, who would it be and why? Any player. It's Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion. I think Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the NFL. I know a lot of people want to lean on Josh Allen, but I've seen Mahomes get it done in the Super Bowl. When they were down double digits, he won them that game. He made every throw that he needed to do to win in the Super Bowl. I think Mahomes is the best quarterback. He's the youngest, and I think that he could put this Giants team on his back. A realistic trade target? That's a good question. What about going and getting another corner that's out there? Ronald Darby is a good name, but if I could have any corner in the NFL or a realistic one, I think Marcus Peters is a realistic trade candidate. You'd have to take on about $8 to $9 million in salary cap space, but he knows the defense. He knows Martindale, so maybe that would make some sense. But Mahomes, if I could have anybody in the NFL, it would be Patrick Mahomes. Good question, Hixie. Appreciate the super chat as well. That was really nice. Pimpin' ain't easy. What are you expecting from Kadarius Toney this season? A much better performance than I saw from his rookie season. We know he has all the talent in the world. All you have to do is go watch the Dallas Cowboys game when Mike Glennon was his quarterback and he had almost 200 receiving yards. Toney is one of the most electric players in the NFL. When he has the ball in his hands, he can make the unimaginable happen. He can make the first guy miss. He can get up the sideline. I want Toney this year to cement himself as the number one wide receiver for the New York Football Giants. I don't think that's unrealistic. He was selected in the first round of the NFL draft. It's time to prove it. Play all 17 games. Show off the talent you have. Because I think this offense, where it's the blend of the Kafka and Dable offense, is the perfect type of offense and scheme for Tony to be successful. Last question in today's show. Senior Giants. Did you see that Will Levis puts mayo in his coffee and eats bananas with the peels on? I don't care how good he is. We can't draft this kid. Yes, Will Levis is a quarterback in college. He plays for Kentucky right now. He's going to be a first-round pick according to all the 2023 mocks. And he puts mayonnaise in his coffee. And he eats bananas with the banana peels on. I don't care how good this damn kid is at throwing the pigskin. If you put mayonnaise in your coffee, I can't trust you. And you probably shouldn't be allowed within 300 feet of a school. Mayonnaise in coffee? I don't even like mayonnaise. And I damn sure wouldn't put it in my coffee. But hey, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe it's something people do. I've never seen people put mayo in coffee. But I'll ask you this question. Do you put mayo in coffee? If you type yes or Y for yes, I'm judging you. And I am judging you. Type Y for yes, or you can go down and type N for no. Mayo in coffee is arguably the most nasty thing I've ever heard. Like, what is the point of that? Oh, I'm gagging thinking about that. I don't even eat mayonnaise. I damn sure wouldn't do it in coffee. Hixie Dust, I'm taking 2 shots for you because you super chat for sure. And then we got this one from Timothy. I've been a Giants fan since the early 80s. That's what's up. Timothy, you always have some of the best comments in the awesomest trade proposals. Alzo, over under 12.5K subscribers by the start of the season. I'm going to challenge you all. I say under. Because June and July is really slow, but maybe we heat up in August. Alzo, I'm hoping over. I know if you could subscribe 1,250 times or 12,500 times, you'd do it because you're a badass. Rosario, 100% agree. If you put mayonnaise in coffee, I can't trust you. You're probably a cop. Mario, what up, man? I haven't seen you in a while. This guy used to be Sterling Shepard's little brother as his name, but he spelled Shepard wrong. So maybe it was a different Sterling Shepard. Hixie, appreciate the $5 super chat, bro. That goes a long way, and it means a lot to me. Another super chat. I'm going to be drunk working the rest of the day. I got to go and do a Knicks video. Marshy, my teammates want you to call Super League Rugby in Six Nation plays where only D elite rugby players and Spartans show up on the back. Let me know. Let me know what I got to do. Tutu, you know you're my guy. If you want me to help out some way or another, I'd be down to do so. And I also got you on 2 more shots right here. Look, I'm all about helping out the people because everyone like Tutu and everyone that watches these videos help me live my dream job. I'm talking about the New York Football Giants, a team I've rooted for the past 21, 22 years of my life. So to be able to talk about them, it wouldn't be possible without people like you. Alan Greenwood, if we suck this year, I would like for us to draft Will Anderson. That's the edge rusher from Alabama, correct? Dude's a badass. He's going to be probably... I've seen in some mocks that he's the 3rd player selected behind C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young. I think I still got 2 more shots for Tutu, so here's one. Allen, if he's there when the Giants are on the board, I'd be down to select him. The dude is a menace. What we saw from him do in the SEC last year was simply incredible. But I can almost say, if Daniel Jones struggles, Giants are going to pick a QB in round 1. I think I just saw someone comment about Kai Soto. Mark says, how old are you, Marsh? I'm 27 years old. Thank you. Jerry says, I've never seen someone get alcohol poison live on camera. The thing is, Jerry, I'm not soft. Alrighty, though. Alzo, Big Blue, Mark, Class Clown, just gave me a shout-out, says Marsha Drink Champ. Everybody that tuned into today's show, I appreciate you. This was the best Giants Live in a while, and it's awesome that we're doing it in June. But until next time, go Giants.